Welcome back, everyone, to Show and Tell. This is just my small adventure in the Magic the Gathering community to highlight the different creators and contributors to the Magic the Gathering community. I already missed that intro, but that's okay, because I'm very excited tonight to be joined by TikToker, Lego connoisseur, stop motion director, if I remember it correctly, Brian, the Unskilled Commander. Brian, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you so much for asking me. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
Me too. Been meaning to have you on for a while. Glad we finally found some time. We're just joking beforehand how, even though I'm on the West Coast, I'm the tired one because I'm perpetually just lacking sleep, it feels like sometimes. So, but yeah, normally I think the best place to start is usually at the beginning. So why don't you tell me about your kind of history of Magic? Like, when did you start, or when did you start playing Magic? What got you into playing the game?
So, basically, it's interesting that I actually remember. So, and the reason I remember is because at the time, I had recently lost my job and was working part-time, maybe even full-time at this point, at my local comic book store. But it's a really big store that's part of a chain, and so it has a big gaming section. And I was probably working there for like about 6 months or so, and working on Friday nights, so they had Friday Night Magic, and at the time, the store was big enough that they actually would occasionally do like I can't remember what they're called, but like not the RCQs, but like the tournaments that would allow for buy-ins to the RCQs and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like they were that high on the brackets of gaming stores for Wizards that they could do that. So we had a lot of like Magic players on Friday and Saturdays. And we sold a lot of it and stuff like that. So finally, after 6 months, and I remember because it was the Tarkir block. It was Dragons of Tarkir, or no, that's the recent one. What was the original block?
It's funny because Tarkir came out in one of my like Magic breaks, so I know a lot of people speak very highly of those sets. I'm just like, oh yeah, I missed all of this. Fortunately, but what is the Tarkir? It's Dragon.
It was because it was the two. It was like the Tarkir, and then when the dragon went back in time and changed everything, all the dragons were there again.
Yeah.
So I think it was something in Fate Reforged.
Fate Reforged sounds right. And then I'm trying to think if I've heard.
Yeah, it was like whatever.
Someone. Hopefully, someone's listening to this and just like yelling at their car or their phone. Like, it's
right?
This.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But hey, it's in my name, Unskilled Commander. I don't have all this stuff memorized. But it was that block that I started playing because that's when I started buying packs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then what's funny about it, still a little salty, is that I started playing and like building 60 card decks because that's what we played. So there was Standard and Modern, and I was playing Modern. And I had a friend who like, oh, I used to play Magic. I got my stuff. I'll come down and play with you and like help teach you. I'm like, yeah, great. So he comes down every couple weeks and like helps. And I'm getting to know the people that like really know the people but that I already know from like selling them stuff. Now I'm like playing with them, after hours, and it's like a lot of fun. And then probably I don't know, 3 months in to literally 3 months after I started learning the game, Commander, and that's it. Like everyone tore apart their decks, built Commander decks, and they're like, Brian, come on. I'm like, no, I'm still learning the basics. I want to play these decks I'm building that are 60 card. So I fought against Commander for the longest time. I think I held out like another 3 months, and then I was like, fine, whatever, and I just grabbed like. I think I tried to make like a horribly bad elf deck because I just started, so I didn't have like all the key cards for those guys. I just grabbed whatever said elf, put it together, and it kind of was okay, and started playing Commander. And then of course now I do enjoy it a lot and stuff, but it's still a little annoyed that like right when I'm trying to learn the basics, it's like, no, here's a brand new version of it, and you need more stuff. And
there's always more stuff to buy when it comes to Magic, but that's funny because I feel like obviously because of Commander and EDH, there's like a point where like, if you're a kitchen table, I was pretty much a kitchen table Magic. That's kind of how I never played I went to like one Friday Night Magic my whole life, never played in tournaments, whatever, but played a lot just with friends at school, and it was always like people, had decks, and everyone was just, if you had a deck, it was like a 60 card deck, right? That was the only way kind of people really knew how to play. So like you'd run into people who's like, oh, you have to play Magic, I'll bring my decks over, and you play, whatever, 1v1. Or I remember in college we played a lot of multiplayer, but it was just 60 card. I mean, essentially, I guess modern deck. Well, I don't even know if modern existed at the time. It might have been Type 2 or Type 1 or extended, whatever the pre-modern equivalent would have been. But and we'd have like four-player free-for-alls or six-player free-for-alls. It was just a lot of times, like a lot of hours. Wish we had Commander back then, but when I came back to Magic this most recent time, which would have been right when Dominaria came out, so 2018 now. My buddy, gosh, he had started, one of my oldest friends actually, he had some coworkers who were playing, and he came back and he was playing Modern. So I was okay, I never played Modern, so I built Modern decks, and then he switched to Standard. So like, okay, well, I'll build a Standard deck or two, and then like, Standard's kind of hard to keep up with, like.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And then I kept hearing about or reading, like seeing like EDH and like Commander, and not realizing they were the same thing and this and that. And then I finally discovered Commander. My buddy was like, that doesn't interest me, and he doesn't really play. He drafts with people now, I think, but like he doesn't really play anymore. And I've kind of found myself here in this world with people like you and other friends. But yeah, it's funny how just like you kind of get talk about timing. Like, yeah, we're just learning to play Modern right now. I was like, actually, we're gonna play Commander, so just forget everything you had and let's start building 100 card decks.
Yeah, and it's like they're not so different that it's unfathomable, but they are different machines. Like you're with a Standard or a Modern, like you want multiple copies and you want it to be pared down very specific to like these 6 cards you're gonna have full sets of because they're gonna do something real fast and real big. Whereas Commander, it's like you have to have these massive themes and like redundancies and like aspects of like protection and draw and all this other stuff that you have to like balance within all those 100 cards.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like you build your deck and you do a thing, but also like you try to win, but you don't try to win too hard because that might not be, you don't let other it's just the political aspect of Commander is very interesting, but that's pretty fun. So have you played pretty consistently since that first Tarkir block, or have you kind of come and gone, or how long do you think that's been then?
Yeah, I'm not sure what year that came out, but it's got to be like 10 years now, I think, of playing. I think it would be. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty consistent. I never like took a break per se or anything like that.
Yeah.
I may have like skipped a couple sets because like for money or I just wasn't interested. But yeah, I've been building decks and tearing them apart and building new decks pretty much the entire time.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So you worked at a comic book store though too. I felt like at one point in my life I thought that was like be a dream job. Like get to work at a comic book store. Like I still love comic book stores. I feel like when I used to travel a decent amount for work, and a lot of times, people was like, oh, you get to travel for work. That's so cool. It's not. It's boring. You're tired all the time. Hotel rooms get old. But what I would try to do is usually try to find like a local card shop or comic book shop to check out if it's close enough. And it's always kind of fun just seeing like different comic places across the country.
Oh yeah.
But, well, what was like working in a comic shop for you? Is it one of those things like it's cool if you're actually working the job? Maybe it's not the greatest thing, but thinking about it, or like, did you have a good time working there? That's kind of a interesting.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it's like I enjoyed the people I worked with. Like they were a lot of fun because we were all nerds and most of us liked comics in some area. Like if they weren't all Marvel fans, but like we still liked enough that we could talk about it. Be like, oh, tell me about that really cool, DC run you just did, or the Dark Horse or whatever, something that you're into. And most of the customers were pretty cool. Like I didn't mind them because they were also nerds, and like you get the stereotypical customers / nerds, so that's like almost worse than normal customers. But yeah, those were like not too often.
Yeah.
It's just that, it just didn't pay enough because it was just a comic book store. It's not going to be enough to really, live off of and get ahead. So I had to keep looking for other jobs and stuff like that. But I was there off and on for quite a few years and like was assistant manager for a while and stuff like that. So it was like, if it had paid just a little bit more, I probably wouldn't have mind staying,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said it was a chain. It was a comic book store chain, which I feel like it's a little rare. I think a lot of comic shops tend to be independent.
Yeah, chain in the sense of of the location. Like, so there's 6 of them, owned by the same person, and they're just in different areas around Pennsylvania and like one in Ohio. But yeah, it's small in that sense. So it's not like Mile High Comics or whatever. That's like the massive one in New York, and it's got another site I think in like LA or something like that. It's I was
gonna say Mile High. What is that stuff about? I think I've been to Mile High in California. Yeah. So, gosh, talk about unlocking a core memory of a place I haven't thought about in a while. Holy cow! It's like, yeah, Mile High. I think my dad used to take me there. Well, this is weird.
Sorry.
No.
Where's the special effects?
Yeah, we'll see. It's funny. It's like future Drew, put some special effects on that, and I won't though because I'm too lazy.
Right, because that's work.
That's funny. Wow. That's still pretty cool though. I mean, retail is retail. I worked retail for 10 years, so like, regardless of what you're doing, it's got its pros and its cons, but it's it kind of gets you by. So, well, that's cool. So you went from playing Magic to kind of doing content and becoming a kind of a Magic personality kind of person. So, what I know you have your TikTok, Unskilled Commander. Talk about the Unskilled Commander? Spoilers: Brian is not unskilled. He's actually pretty good at Commander. I've played with him.
Depends on the deck and the day, but yeah.
Yeah. So talk about, I guess, the brand, and then what kind of motivated you to start doing kind of more than just playing the game.
That's a fun question. I appreciate it. So like, I've been doing Extra Life, which is a charity that raises money for children's hospitals for like the last 15 years. And it was started about video games, but it's broadened over the years to all gaming. So tabletop games like D&D and card games like Pokemon, Magic, all that stuff. To the point where, as most people that are into Magic know, like Secret Lairs ties into Extra Life once a year. They just have one right now, the Play-Doh one. So like half the proceeds from that go to Extra Life and Children's Miracle Network Hospital. So
I didn't realize the Play-Doh one's the Extra Life one.
That's the Extra Life for this year.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, it's as an aside, real fast, just because the Play-Doh one I found super interesting. I do dig the like physical media artwork in the cards, because I think it's real Play-Doh, right? So it's like, we had that one and we had the other one. There was like the puppet one. So anyway, sorry, I didn't realize that was the Extra Life one. I had now going to reconsider. Maybe I'll have to.
No, yeah. So so definitely check it out. If it's a good card, some good cards in it and stuff. But the reason why I bring all that up is because since I've been doing it for so long, I wanted more ways to generate donations. And when you look at the high score, as it were, because we're all gamers, of the people raising money, it's not like they're all getting like a $10,000 donation from like some corporation. Yeah. If you look at it, it's like 50, 50, 25, 10, 5, 5, 5, 25, 25. And I realized, they're streamers. They're getting donations. They're doing a stream and like getting these little baby donations. And they just add up because they're really popular or whatever. So I'm like, I want to try that. But I didn't know like what was I going to stream? What was I going to do? And then, I was playing Magic more and more. And then and the reason why I am called the Unskilled Commander is because I was losing to my friends just constantly, to the point where like it was frustrating. Like it was getting to the point where I was considering like just giving up Magic because apparently I'm crap at this. I can't, I haven't won the last 13 games, like literally. I started counting after a while.
Oh, jeez.
And in order to get better, I wanted to start playtesting my decks more because I would just build them and that's it. I would just from my bulk, not looking up anything online. I would just build them and go, this should be fun. And then it does nothing. So I was like, I should test these before I take them to my friends. And this was even before I really was on Moxfield, which has their playtest function. I was like doing with the physical decks.
Yeah.
And when I had like two decks beside themselves, I'm like, well, okay, but that's just two. It's a 4-player match. So I'm like, I literally put all 4 decks out and started playing them against each other to check. And I'm like, as I was doing that, I'm like, you know what? This would be, since I'm doing this, why don't I ever like record it and this can be my content? Like this is how I can get into YouTube and start doing stuff. So that's what I did. I started recording myself playing 4 of my decks by myself. And then just discussing it as I went around the table. Be like, this is why I'm not attacking this character because whatever reasons. Like, I don't like to go after the same person overall in the beginning or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm going to try and bluff. I'm going to leave these, mana up, but I don't actually have anything. but hopefully the other players would assume I do or whatever. And it did in fact help me get a lot better at deck building and playing the game. So I have improved because of that. And that was like so the goal was to do that for a while, build up a following on YouTube, and then start streaming like live on YouTube with like and raising money for Extra Life. And I assumed that was going to be like years down the road. Like, I'm going to do this for like 3, 4, 5 years, and maybe I'll get enough people to do a live stream. But then I stumbled on the community on Twitter and started like seeing and like, oh, there's a whole thing about this. Like, I mean, I knew at that point, I knew about like the Professor and like the Command Zone and like, like some of the bigger ones. But the smaller and medium people I wasn't completely aware of. And I'm like, oh, wow, there's a whole bunch of people. And started like actually talking. And then, it just grew from there as me making the connections and be like, oh, well, I can play on their stream and like talk about it. And then finally I started to do, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to wait. I only have a handful of followers, but let me just do it now. Because I started having those people on my streams, but I only stream Commander for the charity streams. So I was like, hey, as a thank you for having me on your channel, please be on mine and we'll raise money and stuff like that. And that's what I've been doing for the Unskilled Commander is, I think, just hit 3 years in like September.
Oh, wow.
And then streaming on Twitch for the last 2 years. And so this is like the first real year of me trying to, like the first year, 2024, I only did a couple. This time I was like, okay, starting from January, let's see how many charity streams I can do. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of trial and error and everything, and growing slowly and raising money, not a ton, but more than I had before. So it's always every dollar counts.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's how I kind of got into and started meeting everyone like yourself. Like honestly, like talking back and forth with everyone and being on streams and playing with someone new, and then you do stuff too, cool. Let me make those connections, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I will say there's two. Well, I say this, not really vaulting their TCG communities, but the streaming community is very impressive with Magic. I don't know if just because we have stuff like Spell Table and the unique aspect where it's like a typical 4-player kind of setup with Commander. But also, like, I do think most people in the Magic community like to help raise money for charity. I feel like that's something that like people will get on board with pretty easily. And yeah, to your point, there are just a lot of people who host streams. Like, it's kind of like, it's just wild. Like, I think about the same thing when I kind of stumbled upon the Magic community on Twitter. Whenever I kind of really started digging into, same thing was I was kind of like the same thing like you were talking about. Like, oh, I found the Command Zone on YouTube and like I binged all those episodes. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And I kind of find the Professor, and then you find all these people online and you just kind of like start chatting and you go from like, oh, this is interesting to like, oh, now I have like friends I've made in the Magic community from social media and everything. So but that's great. I mean, I'm always a big fan of people who are looking to raise money for good causes. How often do you try, or how often do you do charity streams? Is that like a bi-month?
So, like, since I'm still trying to find a cadence that makes sense, because I don't want to overdo it. Because, as I've even seen, since I did, February is my birthday month. So in February of this year, I did one a week. Of like 6 to midnight, so like 6 hours once a week, and that did well. And then I did one in May that was just like one day of like 6 or more hours on a Saturday, because also trying to find a day, because to your very point of what we talked about earlier, it's like you're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, so if I'm doing a 6 p.m. start time, like, well, that's you're not even home from work yet, or all these people on the West Coast can't do it, so I have to like mix in the Saturdays so that other people, and like also people from like the UK and stuff, like, so everyone can have a chance to be on if they actually want to. So I haven't like found like the sweet spot of perfect days or even times really, but I'm trying to do like 2 major charity streams in the first portion of the year, and then 2 in the second portion, leaving the summer a little bit of a gap, mainly because I realized that because it's hotter, that my computer runs hotter because it's running everything.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I do a charity stream in November, I hardly hear it rev up. But if I do one in the middle of July, go live and it's like, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because I, keep the AC like relatively high here, so I don't like run up my electric bill too much. So, but yeah, like, so I'm planning on having one in November, like 2 days in November, to end out the year, and then I'll probably try and do something similar where it's like something in a February-ish, May, whatever, like just 2 in the beginning, 2 in the end. But when I say 2, I mean like a couple days.
Yeah, two events per whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did. Was it time is a flat circle? I can't keep track. I think it was May, the May one, because it was definitely a Saturday. It would have to have been a Saturday if I did. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I think it was when you did like 4 pods back to back. You were just like going all through.
Yeah.
I remember. I think it was you, me. I think it was Mia Bite from talking about Britain.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the 4th was. Might have been. Was it Joe Kilcar? Was that our 4th?
It may have been.
Can't remember. It all blurs together. I do Mia because I was not making fun because my dad's Scottish, so I was talking about a bunch of British sweets and stuff, and she was like, "How do you know what that is?" I'm like, "Listen, I know things."
Right.
But
because the May one is the one that I'm most proud of, just because I actually had Rachel Weeks in the first pod.
Yeah.
Which was a huge deal to me, that she actually acknowledged me and was like, "Yeah, I'll be in your charity stream." So that was a real big deal, and it was a really fun game. So
first off, Rachel's amazing. She's kind of came on the scene and just really took the game and the format and just everything by storm. I had the chance to speak to her a few times at Magic Cons, and super down to earth, like super easy to talk to. But I never. It's funny because like you meet these people and they're all just people, right? We're all just Magic players. But sometimes when you get someone like, she's on the CAG, or now she's on whatever Commander format commit, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm down. They kind of like, it makes you feel kind of good about yourself, about kind of what you're doing in a way. Like it's a nice feeling. I've been there 1 or 2 times, where I'm almost like, oh, thank you. Like, that means a lot to me. I appreciate that. So
right.
That's a definitely good feeling. So. It's great. I always look forward to your streams, and it's funny too, because as you do the more, and as people kind of get involved, it's like kind of gets harder to kind of get in on those things. Like, yeah, next time you have one, let me know. But I feel like sometimes they fill up so fast. I'm just like, oh well, I mean, because like good, like glad to see. Rather than fill up fast and you like struggling to fill spaces. But I don't think that'll be a problem for you anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And the counterpoint to that is, I don't know how the best way to like get the info out there, and like, hey, maybe right now, but like, I always feel like bad because I know there's people that are like that, like you and like Jen and Donnie have mentioned, like, hey, don't forget us when you do it. And it's like, I'm not forgetting anybody. Yeah. It's just whenever I do a charity stream, first I try and go to people that like I haven't played with before or haven't been on the stream at all. I send out those invites first, and then when I go back to people that I've been on in the past, I try and like skip a charity stream, so I go back, like, so people aren't, on the same ones like multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you were in May, so you weren't in the, the September ones. That's what it's like. So but since I don't do them constantly, there's like a big month, it's like 4 months, 5 months gap.
Yeah.
Where like you hear me talk about charity streams at once or twice, but Brian didn't even ask me. What the heck? It's like, so I worry. It's like, I'm not skipping people because I don't like anybody. It's because I'm trying to like cast the widest net.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it was just me on my channel, yeah, whatever. But because I'm trying to raise money for a cause that's important to me and just important in general, I do try and go first for like Rachel Weeks, like the big names, and the ideas of like, if I can get more eyes on the stream, then theoretically I can get more donations. Doesn't always work that way, but that's the goal, right? So it's like, I have to like juggle that first, and then move down and through the whole giant community we have, and then it's like, oh, let me ask this person. Oh, they're busy that time. Okay, it's like, then you're scrambling, even though I try and do it like a month in advance. It's always a thing trying to get people lined up for any kind of thing like this. Even it's like you gotta worry about schedules.
Definitely, and especially when it comes to like charity fundraisers and stuff. It's like there's a reason that Command Zone or Game Nights Live is like main stage at Magic Cons, like kind of right. Those are kind of the big names, right? Those kind of get people in seats. So sometimes there is a balance. We're like, yeah, like I'm sure there's a lot of people who, if you had the space, you'd love to have them on every time and this or that. But like, hey, you want to kind of get new people in and kind of keep it interesting for people to watch. And like, yeah, getting some names like a Rachel Weeks, like I think does bring a lot of eyes on an event that maybe wouldn't otherwise. So
Right.
it's tough. I mean, that's it's the struggles of scheduling and organizing. Like that's just people have dealt with that forever, and it'll always be kind of one of those things. But I guess kind of like I said, as long as if the most difficult thing you have is you have too many people trying to get on your charity streams, I mean that's probably a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, and makes me appreciative of everybody in the space.
So kind of outside of charity streams, I know you're fairly active on TikTok. So what interested you and started, getting involved with TikTok, and like what do you view TikTok as, like what do you look to get out of TikTok when you kind of make different shorts and stuff like that? Like what's your experience been with TikTok as a creator?
Yeah, TikTok's weird because I got in like super late. I literally like made my account probably literally 6 months before the first shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
So and I was like, whatever, fine, I'll do it. And I just put my shorts from YouTube up onto TikTok for like the first 4 months or even more because I had so many from there. I was able to I just scheduled them, made up a little Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, all right, I'll do these and this. Made a few new ones as I went, so it kept pushing them out and getting me more content. But for a while there, I was like posting something like once a day, and but actually it was the highest growth I've had on any of the social media. So I'm like, wow, this is really cool, and it got up there, and like I was like just shy of 1,000 followers right when the shutdown happened. I was probably like 990 something, and then it shut down, and then it came back up, and I hit 1,000, and then it like stalled out, and I'm like. So I'm like, I still say I think whatever happened, they changed something and I'm not the only one. Like I've heard that from tons of other creators on TikTok, and it's like not to say that but it's just that my content hasn't changed. Like the quality of the comedy skits or whatever hasn't changed. So, and unless there's some sort of like self-fulfilling thing where it's like in TikTok, they're like, we'll give you we'll promote you a lot until you hit 1,000, then you're on your own. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough or whatever. But like. I should be probably close to like 2,000 right now, and I'm only at like 1,200 because it just but it was like skyrocketing in it. But but as a format, like as a platform, it's fun because I really like that you can have videos that go all the way up to 10 minutes if you want.
Yeah,
I've never made a video that long, but I do. As you can tell, I do tend to ramble. So even my short videos will hit like 3-4 minutes if I'm like talking about a topic within Magic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't fit anywhere else. Like I can't put it on even like YouTube. The shorts have like increased to 3 minutes. So I still have to like try and keep it under that. Bluesky won't take anything more than a minute, I think. And Instagram can go longer, but it's every time you go above 3 minutes, it tells you, well, we're not going to promote this to new people. Like, okay, thanks. That helps, I guess. So it's like TikTok's the only one where you can just kind of have fun with it and do what you want. And, my comedy skits have done better there, I think, a little bit than on like YouTube or Instagram over time, and which is cool to see because those are like the things I have the most fun with. Is just whether it's Magic related, which I'd say like 60-70% of the comedy skits try to be Magic related, so it fits the brand and all that. But I still like to do just generic ones because they just popped in my head and I think they're funny. And they're not supposed to make you like roll out of your chair laughing. Like they're not. None of them are designed like that. It's just you watch them and hopefully you smile or you go, okay, I get it. Like that's what they're designed for. And like honestly, I think that's what most comedy skits you see on reels and all that. None of them are gonna make you laugh out loud very often.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing those, and then I've just gone through so many different types of things to see what sticks, and not many of them stuck, but we just keep trying. And I seem to do semi decent with the discussionary topics where it's like I say, hey. Universes Beyond. This is what I think about this aspect. Blah blah blah. What do you think? And then those ones tend to get a decent amount of comments, and knock wood, everyone's pretty civil in those comments, and it's just like, of course, I'm not getting like hundreds of thousands of views in comments, so like it's when we get like 10 comments, it's easier for them to be
Hey,
decent.
10 comments. That's I get it. Well, my TikToks average maybe 300 to 500 views, which all in all, like I'm happy with. I don't really get comments. Not really the nature, I guess, of what I do there, but it's I do feel. I mean, I would say that I do feel you on the viewer, the follows and stuff kind of being down. Like I was trending at a pretty decent click for a while there, but I also went from posting like 3 times a week to once a week. So like probably mostly my fault for it. I kind of fell back a little bit on that. But yeah, TikTok is interesting in terms of like, especially for the Magic stuff. There's like a totally different Magic community there. Like there's obviously some crossover between like Bluesky and YouTube, but like the TikTok Magic community is like it's pretty large, and I don't want to say isolated in a bad way, but it's very insulated in terms of like who's on TikTok. Maybe it doesn't translate over to people like know them from you. It's just interesting. It's just an interesting like kind of place, I guess, to kind of a lot of very funny and cool people that are just like weird seeing like people on TikTok with like 10, 20, 30,000 followers, and then they just outside of TikTok are almost don't have the same kind of crossover. I don't want to say crossover appeal, but like it's just weird. It's just weird seeing those kind of two worlds, how they don't necessarily. You think a lot of times there'd be more crossover, but I think a lot of big.
Well, you're right though, but it's a different thing, and it's even to this day, TikTok is still, not to be like touting its wonders or something. It's not that great, but like it is unique still, and it is its own little world. And you're exactly right. I've met a bunch of the TikTokers from the Magic section that they're really cool, and like I talked to them at conventions and stuff. But that's it. Like they may have the accounts on Instagram or a Bluesky or whatever, but they don't focus on it, and they barely they post, but they don't care about it. Yeah. Whereas they, cultivate the TikTok stuff. They do it. They've learned their algorithm. They've learned what time of day to post and how to post it and the length and all that stuff. Yeah. Whereas they just take that and dump it on Instagram, and it's like, well, it's not going to work there, but whatever, I don't care. Yeah. So yeah, it is interesting that there's that little, almost like a sub community that's solely on TikTok,
Yeah, I think probably because the financial benefits of TikTok too. Like people can make money on that in ways that you really can't, I think, on like Instagram or YouTube. So that's probably part of it as well. But
very much, yeah, I'm sure.
I ain't making any money anywhere, so I ain't really concerned about that. If anything, this whole Magic, outside of the cards, and just bleeding, hemorrhaging cash.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but so kind of on TikTok and like your TikToks, a few things that I've really kind of learned about you. One, it used to do, or I haven't seen, stop motion videos. Like it used to be kind of into the stop motion thing. So as someone who is a photographer, dabbles in videography, like the stop motion stuff, I've always found very interesting because there's a lot that kind of goes into it. So like, have you always been into the stop motion, or is that kind of something you just do whenever, or like what's that about?
It is sort of a do whatever. So like I've had my YouTube account forever, and for a while I was posting stop motions to that. But even then, I wasn't doing it like we're talking like a half a dozen maybe, or a dozen at most, and they were sporadic. And like I wasn't trying to make it a channel of stop motion because stop motion is very difficult and time consuming.
Yeah,
for like it sounds. You say it and it's like I'm sure it is, but it's like no, it's like seriously, like to do like a 10-second movie of stop motion, it takes you like an hour. It's like because and I don't have the patience to do it right, nor the money or the equipment or the background. I see these, and I do it because I see these really cool things. I follow this one person that does really great stop motions with like anime figures, and then does the voices, and it's like real hilarious stuff. From like Demon Slayer characters and like whatever, and they do the voices really, really well, and just take it in a comedy aspect. I'm like, oh, I want to do that or whatever, and it's like I just can't. Like I don't, because they have like first of all, you really have to know like how to use like green screens and Photoshop to get because you can't just do it by have them stand up because they won't, if you want to have Spider-Man swinging through something, he's got to be swinging through, like he can't be sitting down on the ground. So they have like the arms that will hook around their waist and hold them up so it looks like they're in the air. You have to like get that out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't have the money.
Yeah.
So it's like so my stuff was always super bare bones. And I used Legos because they were a little easier because you could click them into like, I could, as they walked, if I just put them into the pegs. So I knew they were like, and I never took as many pictures as I should have to like, so my stuff looks okay, for what it is, but it's not like groundbreaking. And I've done a few more recently too, for like Magic the Gathering when I was like campaigning to be part of like the Spider-Man set, last year and a little bit this year. I had a couple of funny ones that, that counted as like comedy skits and also, hey, Magic, look at me, but it didn't work that way, but they're still funny and stuff.
I hear you.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun to do, and I still have like a little list on my phone of ones I want to try someday, but it's just like,
Yeah. So I mean, I was thinking about just trying to do some quick math. Like typically, like a video, is it a frame per? So like it's a 124, like a 24 frames per second, right? So are you supposed to do like 24 clicks for every second of video? Is there like a rule of thumb, or do you just wing it? You like just
I just totally wing it. It was just another reason why it's not as good. I'm sure there's actual rules of what you're supposed to do, like how smooth you want it to look.
Yeah.
I have like an app. All of it's on my phone. Like I don't have like software and stuff. It's just there's an app called Stop Motion, that I downloaded a long time ago.
Gosh, that's even more impressive. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so like you just like I just set the phone up in like the holder and just like and then even then I gotta be careful because I'm like when you press the button to like you're moving the whole phone and dang it, gotta be real careful. So that's going and then like within the app there's ways to like speed it up and slow it down so that it just makes it look more fluid because it's just going through the pictures faster.
Yeah.
So it looks like the movements are a little better. But yeah, like and then if I'm playing it to see how it looks, if it looks too quick, like if it's like the arm movement goes, I'll just like you can just copy and paste the same picture a bunch of times.
Oh yeah.
And then that spreads it out a little bit, and it's like I don't think that's how you're supposed to do it. But
if it works, then it's how you're supposed to do it. Trust me, I've the video editing I do sometimes. I'm just like, you just cut, copy, paste the scene, and like, oh, okay, I got to spread. I need like an extra 4 seconds on like a shot, so you just copy and paste it still enough. It's like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. And I've only done voices for them once, I think. Most of them I'll just put like text on the screen to be like. Some of them I've actually made like almost like an old-fashioned, no speaking movie where I have like a frame that's just like dialogue and cuts back because that was funny. And then a couple where most of them don't have any kind of dialogue, anything. It's just you're just supposed to kind of get the idea of it from the way I have the Legos or characters like bending down if they're like. Like I have one where Spider-Man is like swinging like away for like Spider-Man swings in like and jumps away, and then Venom comes after him, and it's like the two little Legos, and then Spider-Man runs into Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum because I have the Lego set.
Yeah, and
then it pans up the side, and he's on top of the roof with Doctor Strange. And like you can see me like his little claw hands like wave like he's taunting Venom like I think the name of the thing is like careful who you taunt, and then like Venom like his little shot of Venom standing there, and he just like shakes and stuff, and you can tell he's yelling. Then I have a bunch of black bricks come in, and like they're coming in and growing, and then like you see Doctor Strange and Spider-Man looking down, and then slowly going like this, like they're looking up, and then it cuts to like the big Venom figure that you can build.
Yeah.
So he's like way bigger. He got mad. He got bigger, and then he cuts to Spider-Man, and he's just like. And then like web slings and Doctor Strange makes his little plastic like spell thing, and then it cuts there. Like they're gonna have to fight him now. But it's just like that's the extent of my like no talking. Like hopefully you understand that when Spider-Man like bends down, that's him sighing like damn it.
No, that's funny. I mean, it's like context clues and like media literacy. Like hopefully people can infer what's going on without the people actually just spelling it out for you. So. But yeah, they're fun. Like I always think they're pretty impressive, and I was like, and they kind of pop up on my timeline. So I'm a fan of them.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So much I want to touch on. So you know, you kind of talk about Spider-Man, Legos. I know you're a big Marvel guy. Have you always? Are you like all kind of comics? Are you like a Marvel person, or do you kind of Marvel is your favorite, but also like this and that? Like what's your? 'Cause I'm a big DC guy. I'm a DC
Gotcha.
Batman. The Bat family has always been kind of my line of comics. I guess I've really been super interested in. But I like the X-Men. I think a lot probably people our age grew up with the X-Men cartoons. That was kind of a big thing, and obviously the reboot was really good. So
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you been into Marvel? Like, are you most comics? Are you just a Marvel guy? Like, what's what do you like? What do you like to read? Do you still read comics? Like, are you still into reading comics? Like, what's
So I have to admit, I did want to make the joke is like, as you're like, I'm a DC guy, I was like, this interview's over. Just like cut to black.
What did you say that name? Oh, Mark.
But so like, yeah, definitely been a Marvel fan, a fan of Spider-Man, who's my favorite since I was little. Like, I mean, like probably like 4 or 5. Because I still have a couple of like the super old toys from that era. And I didn't really read comics books because like, we weren't poor because I had food, I had toys at Christmas and stuff like that. But like, buying me comics wasn't like something that my parents really wanted to waste money on. So I had like 3 or 4, like from like being little up through high school. I probably had like 4 comics that that they would just get me like, oh, here's one, like, okay, I'll get you this one. And they weren't like super valuable ones or anything either. They were just like random Spider-Man comics. It wasn't until I got into like high school and got a job and could start buying them myself. And then to like your point, the cartoons were popular then and stuff, or were about to. So I finally got into reading the comic books, and mainly Spider-Man, but also X-Men and like, dashing of like Fantastic Four and Avengers at that point. And then continued reading them through college, and then would occasionally go buy some like randomly. And then, of course, working at the comic book shop made it really easy because I was just there the whole time. So,
Yeah.
I could, take advice and like, suggestions and stuff like that. I'm definitely a make mine Marvel guy. Like that's my top. Like I am a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
But I don't like, discount the other things because like, I mean, I do. Batman is a favorite. Flash I have a lot of respect for from different things he's done, especially in like the cartoons, but it's like made me appreciate the character. So I enjoy, and then even like the smaller besides the big 2. So I mean, 2 of my favorite runs that I have in hardback trade paperback right now are both from IDW, the IDW Ghostbusters run, which was fantastic. Oh. And the one that just finished, and I just got the last hardcover, is was the most recent ongoing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was absolutely fantastic. Like amazing story, amazing, like, and it held it. Like that's one of the things that really impressed me because it's like I think it stopped around issue 150 or so.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think there were any really bad issues that were just like that was stupid, or like there might have been a couple like pseudo fillers maybe, but like nothing bad. And with IDW, they do something that I absolutely love. I don't think that the big dogs will ever do it because it's probably too much, but they put the minis in the trades in chronological order. So like, especially with Turtles, volume 1, let's say, isn't just the first 20 issues. It's like the first 15 issues and then the 2 5-run minis that were happening in that year like, whatever. I can't remember too many of the names, but the only one I can remember is the bad one, which was Bebop and Rocksteady like destroy the universe or something like that, or wreck everything. Which that was like the one mini that I really did not like at all. But anyway, like it's put in there within the proper timeline. So it's like while this was happening, here's the main story. Okay, at the same time, here's this sub comic, and then here's the rest of the things. So you get all of the comics, and you get to see how it plays out properly. And and I don't think I go too much more indie than that. Like I have like IDW, I've had some like Red Dark Horse, some stuff, and like stuff in those kind of those companies.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, and unfortunately I haven't, like I still read trade paperbacks a little bit. but it's like space issues and money issues that I don't really, because it's a lot of them I'd like to I'd like to read, but they're not like designed for me to keep forever type stuff. Like in the Turtles hardbacks, I want to keep them forever. But like, sure, I'd like to read modern Spider-Man just to see what's going on and find some good issues. But like, what am I gonna do with them? So there's no real place to like flip them or sell them or whatever. So
yeah, and there's just a lot. Like especially like Spider-Man, there's just a lot. There's like a lot of you know what I mean? It's not just like Spider, right? There's like I can't even keep up. But yeah,
like any of the major comics, Batman, Superman, X-Men, they're all just, there's so many issues per thing because now they're just making, there's always like any big character, there's got to be like 3 different ongoing series for them.
Yeah.
And, it's tough to keep up. Like I truly don't know what's going on right now in like the Spider-Man universe, which sucks because like I said, he's my favorite hero, but it's like, I just can't keep up.
Yeah. I used to like, so comics never, my grandmother used to go to garage sales a lot, and she would just like pick up stacks of comics for me sometimes for like, here's 20 for like $2. So I had always a random assortment. And I remember my dad, but I don't even know where he got it from, but I remember one night he came home and he had got me this like thing, and it was like a collection of comics. It was like 12, but 4 of them were like right after the death of Superman, and it was the introduction. It was like the first one was Steel, the first one with Cyborg Superman, the first one with like the Superboy Superman, and the first one with like the Eradicator, I think. So like there was like this whole introduction to like the Superman world and this and that. And these days, like I'll buy maybe a book that like so my really good friend, his name's Ben. Ben Matsuya, actually, he's a comic book artist. He actually has done work for like DC and Marvel.
Oh, awesome.
If you ever see what was his line? He did Jupiter Jet was a series he was the artist on, and he's currently working on one called True Believers, which is a kind of a horror slasher movie villain type book. But he's a big super. So I've been the Batman guy. He's like the Superman guy. So like I bought Red Sun and I read that, and then he was like, he gave me a bunch of Superman books. He's like, you need to read these, like to kind of figure out the Superman mythos as we're kind of getting ready for the James Gunn Superman that kind of came out. But yeah, it's tough because like there. You get to a point like I used to reread a lot of my books like a lot, but like you get to a point like space, like where do you stick them all? Like they're kind of big and heavy, and like my office right now is such a mess. If you could even, it's just I got magic cards everywhere. I got photo gear everywhere. I got to clean this place up. I tried clean. I found a. This is totally random, but I was trying to clean out one of these bookshelf things I had, and I forgot I had bought. Did you ever watch the Netflix Voltron show?
No, I think I've heard of it. Like I watched I know Voltron. I watched the original like when I was a kid, but so
Netflix had like a new a modern like a Voltron cartoon. It's very good. I don't even know if it was a Netflix original. It's made by DreamWorks. I'm not even sure if it's still on Netflix. If it is, highly recommend. It's a great watch. It's not it's good. It's just like a good show. Yeah. But at some point I forgot I bought the 5 Lions from like Target like 6 years ago. So I kept them in the box because like I was like and like, but they're just like they're huge. They're the plastic clamshell box, and it's so I'm just like where do I put all this stuff, man? Like I'm trying to find like shoving it in my closet somewhere. But it's just space like stuff. I got too much stuff. Yeah. So you're saying Spider-Man's your favorite. Well, 2 things actually. We'll come back to Spider-Man. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if you've seen as of usually these things are supposed to be evergreen, but it's currently October 8th at 7:18 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Unknown Universes Beyond Magic set has all been confirmed as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Because of the truck at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, New York Comic Con. There was a big old. I think it was the Turtle Wagon. I think it was supposed to be the Turtle Wagon.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
And it had turtles on it, and then it said Magic the Gathering. So not very subtle.
No, it's like you think Wizards would like have realized that because like somebody even mentioned online, it's like they were supposed to do the announcement on Friday.
Yeah.
Of what the unknown set of Universes Beyond is going to be next year, and it's like that thing's driving around now.
Yeah.
what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, that's so silly. But a lot of people thought it was going to be Turtles.
Yeah.
Depending on how big the set is, I think it could be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think Turtles is. I think for a lot of people our age, especially, Turtles kind of exists in a very special. It's probably like I think for a lot of us, the first fandom we were really into. I feel like I know for me, like Turtles was the first thing where I was like, yeah, the sheets and the toys and this and that. Like, I think it was Turtles and like Power Rangers and then Star Wars and
Right.
it's mostly Star Wars forever. Yeah. But did you? I've been meaning because I'm such a cheapskate. I keep meaning to buy. There's the book. Did you read The Last Ronin? Have you read that? Turtle.
Yes.
What is that? So I know pretty much the story and I know who. But like, did you enjoy that run? Is that I've been like, I've heard it's really good. Like, what is it? Is it enjoyable?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. I don't know that I consider it canon to the ID because it's all by IDW.
Yeah.
And it's the timing of it and the way the artwork and stuff like that. It lends itself to be almost like it could be the future of the one that just ended.
Yeah.
But like the one that just ended didn't end in a bad way to lend itself into that, but it could have. Like, so there's, it's really basically up to your imagination.
Yeah.
The story itself, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed their choice for who survived because I do believe that character is the most powerful of the four. Most skilled, I should say, not the strongest, but the most skilled. I don't know. It's not like it's been out for quite a while. I suppose we could spoiler alert and say it, but it's up to you. But like, yeah, it's like I enjoyed it. So, if you're interested, I would suggest getting the trade paperback and checking it out because there's.
I'm going to spoil it.
Three now.
We're going to spoil it. Here we go. If you don't want to hear it for this multi-year-old thing, I hope I get it right because I'm pretty sure it's Michelangelo, right?
It's Michelangelo.
Which it had to be Michelangelo. No one else would have made sense for the story. Like the goofy one, it has to be the goofy one. You have to make the goofy one the serious one for the story. I think really to go forward. I guess I don't know. It's like I guess you could make an argument for all of them, right? Like. You could say it's Raphael because he was like the sarcastic one, so he has to be the legacy guy. You could say it's Leonardo because he was like the leader, so of course he's the last one standing. And I guess you could say Donatello. Donatello is kind of always the overlooked one, so maybe I don't know. But Michelangelo always is like, yeah, of course it's Michelangelo. It has to be the party dude. Like,
yeah, I think when you look at the concept of like, oh, the other three turtles are dead. There was a massive like battle, and this one. There's one last turtle standing that is like using all of their weapons and out for revenge to like lay his brothers to rest type thing. You're going to lean toward Raphael, especially because like, cartoon Raphael is not really real Raphael. Like, I enjoyed the original cartoon immensely, but real Raphael is the angry, not the sarcastic. He's the angry, brooding one. That always like fights with Leonardo and all that kind of stuff. So you can totally see him being the last one standing from brute strength and just taking all the hits and the arrows and whatever and somehow surviving.
Yeah.
But I've always thought that Michelangelo was secretly the most skilled out of the four because I remember one of the cartoons, I don't remember which one of the more recent ones, even touches on it. Because it's like, I think Donatello or Leonardo, I think it's Donatello, is like getting trained by Splinter. And, he's like, oh, and Splinter's like, he's kicking his butt, but not like, obviously not enjoying it, but he's like trying to teach him. It's like, you're thinking too much, Donatello. You're too smart for your own good when it comes to fighting. And he's like, and Michelangelo is like listening to headphones and just walks into the dojo, like not paying attention. And he's like, watch Michelangelo. And Splinter just attacks him. And he just like dodges and bends out of the way and jumps and like dodges all this stuff. And he's like, and I think Splinter gives him like a compliment. And he's like, "What?" And then he smacks him and knocks him down. But it's like, it's that thing where it's like because he's like the free flowing personality, he's more fluid. Like he just his flaw is that he doesn't want to be violent. Like he doesn't want to hurt people and kill. So he doesn't follow through. So he's not the last one. Like he wouldn't be. Whereas like. That's a Raphael thing. And even Leonardo is more like, I'm going to finish the job if I have to.
Yeah.
So to make Michelangelo the survivor and making him dark and trying to do this, that's the big twist. But it does kind of make a more compelling story.
Yeah. he's got a ultra instinct. There's nothing up here, so he can't.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, it's just like letting go and letting your body read the flow of the movements and stuff, and just go.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to pick that up. It's on my list. It's almost like you have a list of things. Like one day I'll pick it up, and
Right? Yeah.
when there's time, like one day there'll be time. But yeah, so Spider-Man. I do like Spider-Man a lot. Again, talking about early '90s cartoon, the Amazing Spider-Man commercial. Radioactive spider. Sorry,
Nice.
sorry,
Yep.
that was. So we just had the Magic Spider-Man Magic set. We'll say it that way.
Right.
What have
Yeah.
you thought about the set? Like, I know it's been a mixed bag.
Yes,
for a
very
lot of people.
controversial for some reason.
Yeah. So what as a Spider-Man fan, like what did you think of the set in general? Like, what did you thought about it?
I think the set is. I enjoyed the set. I think it's good, with some caveats. Like it's not quite as good as it should be, because I've seen how well they've done all the other IPs, like Doctor Who and Fallout and stuff. And like, while I'm not fans of those things, I've listened to all the people that are, praise how well they translated the cards, and that fits that Doctor, and that fits this thing in Fallout or whatever. And I'm like, there's a fair amount of not a fair amount, but like some of the mechanics don't really make sense. They don't I'm not a fan of the web slinging thing. That doesn't make sense to me. Like bringing back a tapped creature to get someone out faster. It's like, yeah, you can argue that he's like webbing someone out of the way of danger and jumping in to take it. And it's like, okay, I get it. That's cute. But like, I don't know. I just would have made Spider-Man or something more with stun counters, because you're webbing them down.
Yeah.
So they can't move, to leaving them for the cops type of thing. That would have made more sense. And some of the cards do that. But overall, the set was fun. It was great seeing so many deep dives in the Spider-Man world, like characters that I really wanted to see but didn't think we would get.
Yeah.
Like we got Aranya, we got Spider-Girl from MC2. We've got the Stegosaurus villain, which I'm like, that's impressive. Spider-Buggy, Spider-Mobile. They could, and then
we didn't get the giant Gundam Spider-Man though. The Japanese Spider-Man, that was
right. We didn't get that. Yeah,
we got Spider's
we didn't get the kangaroo villain,
but we didn't get Robot Gundam Spider-Man. That's
yeah. But it's like, from a Spider fan perspective, I think the set was good. I want to say the set was great, but it was just good.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a bunch of decks from it and stuff like that, and like, it's just that we all know the problems. Like, it pivoted halfway. It was supposed to be a mini set, and then they jumped and twisted it to make it into standard, so they had to add a whole bunch of commons that were just kind of like, here's Bagel and Schmear, and it's like, what?
yeah.
Stuff that's just like, generic stuff that really, like Doc Ock's henchmen, and they're not even that good. They don't help. You can't have lots of them, something,
Yeah.
So that kind of dragged it down. And something that I don't think enough people are talking about in terms of why the reactions are so poor is that this is one of the first sets in a very long time that hasn't had massive power creep.
Yeah.
If you look at them, like Final Fantasy and everything before that, even the sets that no one cared for, like Aether Drift and stuff, like they still had extremely powerful cards. Whereas, like, I mean, yes, Spider-Man, people are talking about Gwenom and Norman Osborn and stuff like that, but it's kind of like that's it. Maybe Soulstone, sort of, but like the other sets had like constantly are ramping up, and then Spider-Man is just kind of like mid level, which is what they really should be, honestly. Like, we don't need constant power creep. But I think people see that and they're like, oh, it's a bad set. It's like, no, it's not bad. It's just not as powerful as you're used to. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that put things in perspective. But again, I'm not trying to oversell it. It was not as good as it could have been, but I did really enjoy it. And can't wait to play. I have friends coming over later this month, and I can't wait to play the decks I made, in person again to try and see how well they work and just, use the cards.
Yeah. What deck have you built that you're most excited to try out?
I did get to try them all out at MagicCon Vegas. So they all did okay, except for Cosmic Spider-Man, which is sad to me because that's the one I like the most. But the reason why it didn't do as well is on me because because it was 5 colors. I'm like, oh, I can put all the spider heroes in it.
Yeah.
I made the decision to make it a set deck, meaning 91% of the deck is from the Spider-Man set. And other than like Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, Mirrored Landscape, and like, Harmonize and Soul Ring, which actually now do have alternates from the Secret Lair, so I can count them. But it's just from the set. So, and there's with all the reprints and stuff. So you got like the Ponder and the Path to Exile with Spider-Man art. So those are in there, but it's a 5-color deck. So the land base isn't as good. I can't speed it up. I don't have a ton of mana rocks to counteract it. No Chromatic Lantern or anything. So the problem I'm seeing with it, the few times I've played it with actual people, is that it can get screwed over with land, and it's like, oh, cool, I don't get to cast the commander. And the spider heroes, they're not slivers. They don't super harmonize with each other. They all have their own abilities. So like some of them work well with each other, but not a ton.
Yeah.
So it's like you do need him out to make them all flying and hasty and trample and stuff. So it's like, well, but like I said, that's a restriction I'm putting on myself, and I don't want to change that. So I'm just gonna have to, like, as we get Marvel cards in the future from like future Commander decks, just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. I mean, it kind of just sounds like instead of a good stuff pile, just a spider stuff pile, and like, that could just also be. I mean, maybe it's the pod you're playing in, right? That might be a bracket 2 or even a bracket 1 type of deck that has to be in that kind of special, that particular situation where it's not as synergizing as well as maybe another type of deck that isn't just using Spider-Man cards is doing, right? So that's
right. I mean, you could build that deck so much better than mine with like even with the Spider Heroes, but like and a couple maybe like Shelob from Lord of the Rings or whatever, and some. But you just need to trim down the heroes, add in a ton more ramp.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have any ramp spells because there's no ramp spells in that set. Like now I have like 3 visits when I get the Secret Lair, so like that's 1. So it's like you need a bunch of them to get the mana right, and then it'll be super powerful. Like, and I'd worry about like underselling it. I don't think I would ever say it was a 1. 2 might be pushing it because, like I said, if you do get him out on turn 5, and like 2 or 3 other heroes, you're hitting constantly in the air and gaining life off of everything. So you're going to be hitting for 10, gaining 10 like every turn, and hopefully making more, putting out more creatures every turn. So it can get gross. It's just that it's not going to be optimized.
Yeah, I get it. It's funny. You probably really are suffering from there being no commander decks, right? Like typically, if they had put out, I guess this was a standard set, but like had they put out, even remember when they were doing those like the $20 commander decks with every set, they'd put out 2 of them. Those were kind of nice. Like if they were like one Spider-Man commander deck, there would probably have been a lot of pieces there that kind of help offset some of those difficulties. But I can't imagine. I mean, they have the full Marvel superhero set coming next year. Right. I would be surprised if there wasn't a Spider-Man commander. Like it feels just like I can't imagine they wouldn't do that, even though we had a whole Spider-Man set. Like well, here's the Spider-Man. Like sorry, here's maybe it's kind of like a sorry. And
I mean, Mark Rosewater actually kind of said that because it's the one and only release video they've done that I actually watched was the Spider-Man one because it's Spider-Man. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this thing. And when they were spoiling cards and mechanics, and they said, I think at the end of that there will be Commander precons for the future Marvel properties that they do. Yeah. And he said a Spider-Man precon isn't off the table. I don't, and I was just talking online. I answered somebody who asked that question on like Bluesky. I'm like, I don't want there to be spider characters in the Marvel superheroes one because to me that's not fair. Like we just had a Spider-Man set. I don't want to see any spider related anything in that because if you're doing just Marvel superheroes, that's too big. You got Fantastic Four, X-Men, Avengers, Defender, like the street level. Like there's too many characters. You can't take away from that by adding, here's another Spider-Man. It's like, please don't. Like, don't put another Doc Ock. Don't, you did the whole set. Like, just give me, as many cool superheroes and villains from the Marvel and deep dives and weirdness that you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be pretty interested to see what some of those superheroes they do commander stuff. I have a Wolverine commander deck which I really like playing with, but I really want like a Doctor Strange. I think that could be kind of a cool, probably a Spellslinger deck of
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty excited for that. So we'll have to see how that kind of. We just got to get through a few other sets first. So, but
Right.
it's gonna be nonstop cards all of next year. I think we got 7 sets coming out. It's wild how many sets we get in a year now. It's just how much product. But
it is getting, and it's making it difficult as a creator, because it's like it's not even so much about trying to keep up. It's just like you get to the point where like, do I even care? Like, what's the point of like, we just went through the cluster F of Edge of Eternities is like a week from being released, and they do Spider-Man spoilers at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And Avatar spoilers, and then Spider-Man set is about to launch, and they're doing more Avatar spoilers, and it's like, guys, can you pace this properly? Can you please let each set in universe or out of universe like percolate for a couple seconds and actually get be allowed to breathe?
Yeah, it's a bummer too because Edge of Eternities was really cool, like big. I like the fantasy stuff, but I'm always probably more of a sci-fi guy than a fantasy guy. And the Edge of Eternities was definitely my vibe, and it's unfortunate that we didn't really get to kind of like live in that world at all, really. Like it was really kind of just smashed in between Spider-Man and Avatar. So
yeah.
So what can you do? So kind of wanted to kind of pivot, to some other things you kind of do. I did want to bring up your we kind of were talking about before we started recording, was your Twitch Who's That Creator kind of stream. After you admitted to blatantly ripping off this show. No, I'm just kidding.
Where's my lawyer?
No, so you have you do a Twitch stream where you kind of feature different creators as well. So what made you kind of want to do that? Or were you just kind of looking for another opportunity? Like, what was the inspiration outside of this show, obviously, and your good friend Drew?
Right, of course.
But what kind of inspired you to kind of start? Someone who does the same thing. Obviously, that's what we're doing now. Like what was your motivation for kind of starting a Twitch stream like that?
A couple different pieces like came together to make me want to do it and come up with the idea. I did want just something else to stream because like the charity streams that I'm proud of. Like I said, I only do a handful of them, like probably like 24 across the year, because I don't want to oversaturate that. And there's even when people show up, they're not going to be able to donate every 5 minutes. So I want to keep them separate. I have fallen off recently because of like going to Atlanta and stuff, but I was trying to do once a week stream of like just streaming a video game, like just being like not being a normal streamer, but just doing that for fun, to just kind of be consistent, have something out there. And I wanted something else, and I'm like something that's Magic related, and I didn't want to do like I wanted to make sure it wasn't something that everybody else was doing, because we're all doing Commander streams basically. It's like every 5 minutes you can turn on and see one somewhere, and I'm like, and I thought of the the idea of just like this, just chit chatting with people and getting to know people a little bit better, and it would be in my own interest, just because hey, I want to learn, I'm going to be better friends with this person. Let me just chit chat and let me use this pretense. But also, one of the reasons why I settled on doing a creator focused interview stream was because the community has its flaws, but the community is also very welcoming and supportive as much as it can be, and was really instrumental in getting me going when I found it, like accepting me and being like, yeah, you can come on my stream, or hey, let me help you, make Twitch affiliate, like let me help you, here's some tips and all this stuff. So I wanted to kind of give back to the community, and like while I don't have a huge following, no one's gonna skyrocket their viewerships by being on my stream. It's something that I could be like, hey, big or small. Like it's not about number count. It's not like just going after Kurohitsuki or like the ones that have like 5,000 followers on Twitch or wherever. But anybody, like some other, trying for them, but also people like me that have like 200 followers on Twitch or like 1,000 on TikTok or whatever. and just being like,
200
hey,
nothing. 200's impressive. Let me tell you, 200's that's not it feels like a small number in the grand scheme of things, but that's 200's a lot. Don't undersell 200. So
that's true. You're right. I don't want to seem ungrateful or anything like that. But like something to just give back and be like, hey, check out this other person. Like maybe you don't love my stuff, but like this person is also cool. Like go look at their stuff, see what they're doing, and just as like a thank you to the community is really the main reason why Who's That Creator is there, because I know that the other creators will tune in and watch, or like watch it on YouTube and something like that, and you guys will show up and comment and ask questions of people, and whether you already know them or like, hey, you know what, I am interested in Jen and Donnie. What are they doing? Like, and so people show up and ask their own questions. So that's really why it was created and why I'm doing it.
That's fun. Yeah, it's that's basically how I tricked Hobbs into being my friend, is he came on this show and then he kind of was stuck with me. Also our shared depression as Angel baseball fans, that as well. But no, that's cool. I mean, I always like when people feature other creators and like people who are just kind of making interesting stuff and doing interesting things. So I've seen the people you've had on, and it's like it's a very I say eclectic, but like it's it's just like it's creators. I'm like, oh, I'm glad to see like that's a cool person. I'm glad they're they're getting some shine on your stream and stuff like that. So it's what I try to do here a little bit. So like I'm glad to see like kind of cope, same vibes, I think is what we're kind of going for. But yeah, I definitely encourage people to kind of check that out, and I'll make sure to link all your stuff in the show notes for sure. I think you said you kind of felt, how often do you, in a perfect world, how often would you be having that stream happen?
So far, knock wood, I haven't had to cancel it completely. So it's once a month, the goal, because again, it's like I'm not trying to like step on toes, and I'm also not trying to like have a second job, which is one of the things holding me back on streaming, is like that constant schedule of locking yourself into X day at X time. But yeah, normally they're on a Monday night. I tend to be like 8 or 9 o'clock start time for anything I do, basically, like whether I'm streaming a video game or where Who's That Creator. The charity streams start at 6 because I tend to do 6-hour like little mini marathons. But yeah, once a month, and then they go up on YouTube the following month. So,
Gotcha.
So for like example, what is this? So this is October. So in September, I had Strixhaven Dropout on my Twitch channel. Her episode will go later this month in October, and then in October on Twitch, next Monday, which will be the 13th of October, I'm having Brouhaha on. So their episode will be in November on my YouTube. So it's a little double dip on the content. So
it's funny because I used to, first off, love Brouhaha. They are my favorite. You have to remember, you have to ask them about their Gary deck, and you have to ask them about their catchphrase. Their catchphrase is, "You just got Gary'd." That is their catchphrase. I promise you, if you bring it up, they will be very happy.
All right, I'm making a note of that right now, as a matter of fact. Because the thing is, like, I don't know, and this would be interesting, like, for you, question back at you. But, like, I have, my questions are the same every time with each creator, but then what I'll do is I'll make 3 to 5 customized questions to mix in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, if if someone becomes a fan of the series, they know what to expect, but since it's a different person, it's going to be different answers. So it's not like it's, the same thing over and over again. But I'm definitely going to type in here about Gary deck and you got Gary.
It's their catchphrase. If they deny it, they're lying. Yeah, so I mean, that's funny. I do, I have a form that I send out to everyone, and then I have a whole notebook. Is this you? I have similar questions. I tend to start with background stuff, but I try to do research on just what you do, what my guests do and what they're into, and kind of just, I try to find some interesting, maybe unique stuff that maybe they weren't expecting. That's always the fun part, when someone's like, oh, I didn't think we were going to talk about that. But that's, it makes sense to kind of have a general idea of what your show is going to flow of the show, but being
Mm-hmm.
able to pivot on the fly is also smart as well. I was going to say something and I just lost it. So, once a month. I feel like once a month. It's wild how much more difficult twice a month is than once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do this show twice a month, so every other week, right? I put out an episode, and oh man, it was just like so much more work. And then I've been bad. I was trying to get back into it once a month again recently. I missed last month. I think I had Ham Hocks on 2 months ago, and I had before that I had Bugs Matrix on. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back into once a month, and like I can do this sort of thing, and just fell off. Just could not find the time. It's it's partially finding time scheduling with my guests, and just me finding time for being available, and it's just funny. Like it's like you think about once a month, and it's like, man, does that feel like enough turnaround? But then like you try to do twice a month, it's like, gosh, it's like. You're almost, it's like, it's hard. It's just, I was just thinking about that.
Right.
Like, man, once a month is like a good kind of flow. But as soon as you try doing twice a month, I keep going. Tells you how out of it I am. I had this idea for December of doing 25 days of content, where I put out a piece of content every day and just, up until Christmas.
Right.
But then I realized, that's like, December's like 2 months away. So
Right.
I had all this content, like, I'm actually have like a backlog of people I need to reach out to do interviews, but, I'm like, well, I don't want to sit on those for like a month and a half, almost 2 months now. Like, I'm like, oh, well, that's, so I had this idea and I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh no, it's not going to work from like the opposite where it's too far away. It's just funny how like content creation is a capricious mistress. I feel like, it's like,
And then of course, like you have all these ideas and regardless of how you do them, they're not going to hit the way you want. Like, I mean, I think just by you saying that, it's like, oh, that's a fun idea. Like, 25 days of content. That sounds fun. But I mean, who knows? Like, in order to do it, you'd have to do all kinds of different types of content. And it's just going to be like hit or miss as to what, like, do people see it? Do they like it? Do they whatever? And then it's like, I mean, I said with YouTube shorts originally, I tried so many different things. Not expecting them to blow up by any means, but just something to get like some interaction. I for a while I was doing guess the magic card, but it was only using emojis. To try and like I did that for a little while. I got some people consistently commenting, like some friends, but they never like those things would only get like a few views. No one cared. And then I tried focusing on the flavor text on cards because no one ever really talks about the flavor text, and sometimes they're like really powerful and really motivational or whatever. And so I had like motivational Mondays where it was like a flavor text from a card that was like helpful, and it's like those flopped. Nobody cared about those. And it's like, okay, it's just so hard to find something that sets you apart that people actually want to listen to or watch or whatever.
Yeah, it's tough out there for a gangster. Let me tell you, it's hard. I feel you. Well, okay. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I do appreciate you spending. I know it's a little late for you, but there was so actually we already kind of touched on your charity work. That was going to be my big wrap up, but we kind of hopped into it earlier, which is great. No. It was a easy transition for me. So what I will do is I'm going to pop up my community board through the magic of video editing. So I'm just going like this. And then hopefully,
Give your reaction soundbite. Oh my gosh.
So what I do, I like to have when my guests come on, we get to kind of pick a group or organization or charity to kind of make a donation to. So I'm going to go ahead and make a donation to your Extra Life kind of charity fund, just as a small way to kind of support you. And I know Extra Life has been great for, great organization to kind of dealing with the Magic community and people kind of raising money for them. So I will kind of do that just as a small kind of thank you for kind of coming on, and just to something we kind of do, and that way, so just even when the show's over, is kind of the way we can kind of keep supporting you and what you do.
That means a lot. Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
My pleasure. And of course, going for it anytime I can like any of your posts or re-push out any charity things, I'll definitely make myself able to do that. And if you need people for streams, like feel free to reach out. I know you got a list, got a waiting list.
You're always on the list, so don't worry. It's not like you're not. Well, you roam one time, and I don't like to play with that Drew guy. And it's like I definitely want to play again. So yeah.
Other than that, do you got? I mean, any? I think MC Atlanta just kind of wrapped up. Any events for you in the near future or anything? I guess they were kind of winding down the end of the year, so probably not too much on the radar. I don't know if anything got coming up for you.
No, not really. And that's one of the difficult things also about being a creator, and you probably can relate to this a bit too, is like, I have a decent job, but it's like I can't afford to go to all these conventions and that's how you make the connections with the other creators. Like that's how you strengthen them into friendships and just get on people's radar. And also, play games with people in the command zone and just give out your info. Like, hey, that was a fun game. Here's my little sticker pack and stuff. And it's like, I can't, gallivant around the United States, going to like 15, 20 conventions a year. So, I'm not even sure what I'm going to be able to swing next year, 2026. It's like, because I also like, as much as I enjoy, the content and being a creator and being in the community and talking with everybody and stuff and making those connections, it's like Magic isn't like my entire life. There are things that I would like to do and like vacations I would like to do that have nothing to do with Magic. So it's like, I can't just, last year was Vegas, and then this year was like MagicCon Vegas, and this year was MagicCon Atlanta. And it's like, I don't know if I could do another big MagicCon next year. I might kind of want to do some other stuff. So yeah, you might not be able to see me out and about, but you can always find me online.
There you go. I feel you. It's for me, I can drive to Vegas, so like I kind of get by in terms of like I don't have to buy a plane ticket. Atlanta would have been cool. I had such FOMO for Atlanta. I was just like, oh, everyone I want to hang with is there and looked so fun, but just couldn't make it happen. I was so annoyed. I was in Atlanta the week before, working a trade show at the same convention center for my job, and I was like, well, if this was just like a week later, it'd been perfect. But what's really funny and annoying was I had this idea of, I'll go find like some magic packs of magic cards and I'll hide them. And then when the convention was happening, I'll be like, I hid cards in this place. Like, see if you can find them. Do you know, I didn't have a car because it was like my hotel was walking distance to the convention center. So I walked around. I could not find anywhere that sold magic cards within like a 10-mile radius of my hotel. Like I wasn't going to pay for like a $40 Uber to go somewhere, but I was like, I could not find. Right. I was so annoyed. I was like, would have been such a cool idea, but just could not.
That would have been so much fun.
Couldn't make it work. But anyways, Brian, again, thank you so much for joining me. Unskilled Commander, because I will link your Bluesky. If you go to Linktree, I'll put it all in the show notes below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, feel free to like and subscribe. Don't hit the bell. The bell is stupid. I don't know what the bell even does, sort of thing. But going to try to get back into a little better rhythm with these. I have a list of guests ready to come on, so I just gotta. It's all on me now. The pressure is on me. Thanks for watching, and look out for the next charity scene for Brian, and go donate to Extra Life Room. It'll be great.
Awesome. Thanks again for having me.
No problem. We'll see you soon.